for the companies that are catering to brands and with our experience, how to distinguish between product market fit versus early traction. Welcome to the Brewed podcast. We are catering to retailers globally. This is the first time Mayank and Sharath, my co-founders, are on the Brewed podcast. So go ahead, Sharath. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audiences?
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Sharath. I look after front-end tech and product over here. Have been an engineer for mostly 12, 13 years now. Graduated along with Mayank from IIT Kharagpur. After that, me and Abhijit know each other from our school days. So I think 8th, 9th standard onwards. So yeah, that's how we know each other. And yeah, looking forward to this conversation. Mayank?
Yes. Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Mayank, and I am, as you say, one of the co-founder and CTO at Appbrew. I am looking after the backend and the platform here. 17 to 18 years now, and it has been with Appbrew being 4 years, so it's been a great journey overall building this platform.
So basically, the objective of the podcast is to share with public how we have been building Appbrew and how AI is helping us transform brand experience with Appbrew, and how we are also helping brands with their customer experience, how we are leveraging AI internally and externally. So I'll just jump into it. My first question would be to Mayank, like uh, when did we start like for the companies that are catering to brands and with our experience, how to distinguish between product market fit versus early traction?
PMF defining itself, I think early traction, that any kind of traction is good. I think everyone wants traction, right? But defining PMF, I think you have to have that sense of that you are getting some pull from the market. Like you feel like even if there is some constant demand, and people are willing to pay the price that we are asking for. Pricing at the correct price features which we are offering, and we are getting a sense of the pull from the market. Now, sense of the pull is where we're doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Okay, what does it mean and everything? But yeah, I think that is where product market fit is. But it continuously evolves. Right now, I think we are with the way I'm answering also. Like I feel like it continuously evolves. Like every 2 years, you have to figure it out again and again with the new changes and scenarios that is coming again.
Yeah. So
I think
yeah, good one.
so. Yep. So the one thing that keeps on coming in my head for quite some time is that how do we become essential in a customer's life? So let's say if Febru shuts down its product, will the customer feel the void in their life? Will they feel my life is a little worse now than it used to be? Before my life was much easier before. So I think that, being a necessary thing in a customer's life, if we are able to be that's a product market fit versus a early traction where, okay, you are good to have, but not something I'll not miss you if you go gone. So I think that's how I can differentiate it.
So if I have to summarize, there can be 2-3 parts of. Essentially, truth is PMF changes every 2 years, 24 months, and with AI coming in, it changes every 12 months, I think. And the second thing is we need to have a constant pull of the product from the market at a in a repeatable, and that pull is kind of repeatable where we are able to sell the product at a price that makes business sense or that is helping us grow fast. And the third thing is in terms of how critical we are in our customers' lives. So if you switch off our product, will they feel the voids or they will just get on with this? So these are the few, and thank you for highlighting this. The other question is, which is for Sharath actually, when we think of Appbrew, what is the product framework that you have been using and how it has evolved?
We are in the midst of evolving it completely. The start initially, all businesses, I think we started with having it was very simple that we talked to customers what they were asking for. Like these are the features we need in the app and the platform. For the first, I would say 10, 20, even till 30 customers, we would be like any integration, any feature we were trying to cater. We were also building a sense of the Shopify ecosystem itself. Like we were also trying to understand these are what across categories in apparel, beauty, Twitter, or other categories. What are people asking for? First 20, 30 customers, I think we were like focusing on each customer, like whatever they want. But as we have evolved or as we have grown, the way it has evolved is now we look at, okay, will it make sense to at least 20% of the customer base that for which we are building for? The way, and that will number will keep on increasing. Like in terms of percentage, it might still remain the same, but trying to gauge demand from obviously most like app being a critical channel for each brand. Like they ask, everyone is like, excited about, they want to build new things. So each one comes up with their own set of features and demands. Now, prioritization, I think, is a very big challenge for us, or I think we have to work with it. Like we have to keep all of our customers happy, ensuring that they. So in that prioritization, like sometimes right now we are like, if it makes sense for at least 20% of the customers that are with us, then only we should be building it. So that's the high level thumb rule. And again, with newer features, AI coming in, everyone wants all the features that they want in the product that they are using. So that's where I think the way we are building Milo are like very close to making it live also. Like we want people to be able to build whatever features that they want using Milo itself. So that's the direction I think most of the companies will end up taking. That using Milo, allowing people to build all the uh, features that they want. Milo for everyone, I think it's our AI agent for making apps, making and managing apps. So using that's the direction where we are at right now. Like focus on an agent which allows the customers to build like 70% of the feature requests that have been coming to us so far, and then we focus on the 30% which are core enhancements to the platform right now. I think that's where we are at.
So also from a product perspective, you have been talking about like building an ecosystem. To build to have a very like a market defining platform, we need to evolve into an ecosystem. What
Right.
are your thoughts about it? Like for the time being, for most of the brands that we work, like we kind of the successful brands with us, we command 50% of the revenue or 50% of the DTC sales. Like what's your framework for uh, how do you think of like expanding to increase the Appbrew ecosystem for the brand?
Right. So from beginning, I think we have treated ourselves like we wanted to give the best tech to the brands, right? DTC brands who we wanted to give them the best tech. App was like we saw a gap in people didn't have, or brands didn't have the best resources to build those apps. So we built a no code platform to start with, right? So what we are doing, I see it as an extension right now, using things like enabling developers from. So I think so. What we are doing right now is allowing anybody to build on top of our app platform. Now, by anybody, it will mean that it can be an agent or it can be a regular developer. It feels awkward to say it, a human developer and an AI agent, right? Anybody can build on top of our AI platform, of our app platform. So now the ecosystem consists of integration partners. They are building integrations for apps. They build it once and that's usable across all the Appbrew apps at once. So we did this last quarter, and I think we already have two partners going live. Another few are in progress. They will be going live in this month. So that's one part of the ecosystem. The other part is the brands itself. Their developers building on top of our platform. Again, there are two brands like Salty, Distacart. They are going live with. They have built features by themselves, and again, they will be making them live in a week or so. So that's another part of it. Third part is the agent part. Like anyone and anyone can use our agent to build an app. They don't need the tech skill to build really, like, let's say, a cool animation or a gamification, or would they want to make any kind of feature, like how do you want to do variant selection, right? Or you want to really personalize that to your brand. So those are the things. I think I see it like that, like a complete overview of like everyone able to build on top of our platform.
So question to Mayank. So Sharat was very specific for the like an app ecosystem, and app is a channel. But for the time being, though the traffic like the global traffic for e-commerce is like 85% plus on mobile devices, but very small set of brands use mobile apps. So for Appbrew as a platform, if we want to evolve and cover a larger surface area for the brand through our products, how would you approach this?
So the thing here that when we say that very small number of brands have mobile apps, I think the technology barrier has been the major player, like major reason behind it. When we started Appbrew, I would say it was extremely difficult for a brand to make an app. It would, if they start building, it would take around 3 months, 4 months, could go up to 6 or even an year if they really want to make a good app. First, with our platform, we try to reduce that, like with that, just a marketing person can get an app built, they can manage throughout this. But with now AI coming in, that technology barrier has been removed completely. There is no, it's all about imagination now. What you can imagine, you can tell the agent, test it, make it live. Now, and we all know that shopping experience on app is far superior compared to web. The kind of, like all the metrics prove the data, whether it is your session time, whether it is the conversion rate, whether it's your people just browsing products. It's a platform that is so good to browse and purchase, and anyone who wants to build a brand, build a loyalty should have an app. Now, when these two things combine, you do not have a technology barrier and you have a platform that converts really, really well, and that helps you build that loyalty. I think we have come to a point where this is like the app market is going to explode. And even what we have seen right now, we are able to, with the help of agent, all are whether it is internal and some external brands as well, they are able to build an app, just like whether it is the customization which Sharath was talking about, how do you maintain your PDP? How do you maintain a cart page? How do you incentivize customer to buy more? How do you take their feedback through votes and all? It's an engagement medium, and that all is possible by AI. So I think that this is the point where we kind of it's like with AI, without AI, this would have been something that could have taken, let's say, a 5 year, 6 year, or something like that. But with AI, I think we have reached a point where it is just possible for everyone to build an app, a great app immediately. So I think we are this surface area will be 1 year down the line or 2 year down the line will be much more compared to where it is right now.
Cool. So basically, we are just the supply has been unlocked and the demand is already there. And the burden of distribution, or the burden of taking the light to the world is upon us. Now, coming to the interesting part, which is last 2 years or 1.5 years, the whole world have like changed, and it is an AI first one. Just like cloud, it's everywhere. So how do you what are the best AI tools that we have been using? And Sharath, if you can share.
AI tools that we have been using. So I think it's like the regular ones are obviously there, like the Claude, ChatGPT, and all. Gemini, I think also for image generation and all, everyone has been using that. I think our design team has really Stitch by, and they have used that a lot to basically evaluate multiple, brainstorm multiple designs, I should say. So our design, I think ultimately the favorite tool across everyone right now is Claude Code. Like even the designers are using it, people are using it, and we have built tools on top of that. First layer, I think Mayank built the app agent is there, which is an internal agent which helps make any changes in app. That's something which we have built in for internal uses. Also gets any kind of information around app. So that is there. So, and another part, I think what we are using internally would be, what are we using? Yes. So we are using, I think people have also tried out other tools like Figma Make and all. But I think their uses mostly it's been concentrated around Claude Code and internal tools that we have built. Like as I said, Appbrew was one. Internally, we have also built Echo, which is a knowledge-based plus kind of a platform, like where you can query about anything related to whatever we have worked on, whatever we have talked about from our mails, meetings, etc. So it surfaces that information for any member in the team. So that is there. Yes, these are the main tools. You can add like most likely people play around with a lot of things, so it's difficult to track also.
Yes. Yes, I think the fundamental, the fundamental is that we are able to use like harness like Claude Code and Phi as well to build things on top of it and personalize for ourselves. So these kind of platforms act like, a base layer, like where, as Sharath mentioned, that designer is able to use for its own, well, for their own like work in their own way. A product person is able to use in their own way. A success person is able to use in their own way. So I think getting the fundamental clear is the main thing. The rest, obviously, we have those like, video tools and all, which is more like about convenience. So those also make our life quite easy.
Yeah, the second interesting question and like most used coding with AI is like the question is how have we been able to like use that and how the users have evolved in last, let's say, 6 months or let's say 8 months. And there have been a lot of controversies. They're like from the larger organizations, people are putting coding limits. Like I was just reading a tweet that Twitter has put in like a limit of $200 of token per week. So it would like what has been our experience, and and would love to understand like coding alone with AI. So that's the kind of a topic which you would like to learn.
Yeah. So I think there's no new information in this. And stats also say that, the number of commits that used to happen before we started using like, AI deeply in the coding was almost 1/5 of what the number of commits that we are doing right now. And the people who are committing, the GitHub team also has more than doubled. And the diversity that has brought in. So our product people are on GitHub, our designers are on GitHub, and of course, our developers and QA already used to be. So, coding has become very accessible to everyone, and we are seeing it in terms of features as well. The number of features we used to demo earlier in our monthly demo has gone up. The things that we are able to experiment has gone up. And of course, so when we do all of this, it cannot be an open field. Like, you cannot, like, there will definitely, if something is going great, there will be some controls that will be coming. And token uses is definitely one of them. So we have given each of our team member, irrespective of their role, the Claude, code subscription. And that kind of like help us, at least till the time when the cloud is subsidizing Cloud Code, help us reduce the cost because that is like we are able to use at least that in the code. When it comes to platform, I think we are at a stage where we are exploring the models on open source, whether it is Kimi, DeepSeek, GLM, Quen, and our platform is deeply like, using these open source models, which are cheaper and simultaneously can be better customized for the use cases that we are doing. You don't need an Opus when you are, let's say, trying to just browse the website and trying to create a summary. You don't need, but if you are trying to take trying to solve a problem where the customer is not having that great of an idea how to solve it, you need an like a model like Opus. So that is how we are able to optimize on the cost. But we have seen is certain use cases we were able to achieve at, I would say, 1/20th, 1/25th of the cost when we move to the open source models. So, and we have also set up like we have a Cloud Core subscription, but we have also set up as an open source version of it with Pi and Open Router, which works as a backup for right now. So, I mean, of course, there is a lot of code going out there, but that also brings a lot of outages as well. And we have seen that both in GitHub, both in Claude. So we have a backup, and we also use as a benchmark to test open source models. So yes, like, we like, I think the future will be a mix of these models. And we are, I think, from we have entered that era where now it's not just about token maxing, it's you have to start optimizing on the cost as well. So these are some of the things that we are using to, reduce the cost and still get the max of the AI.
Yeah. And so I think we have already covered like a token problem. Now talking about AI automation blockers. So, like for me, it was very interesting that when our support people started shipping features or fixing bugs for the customers, that helps, resolve things faster for the customers, as well as, it also like empowers our support team to see things end to end. But what are the challenges with AI automation that you can highlight? Especially like Mayank, you have sentinels telling people to do their job. So how does that happen? What are the challenges you have been facing in the automation?
So I think the before we started deeply integrating AI in our automations, we started with the basic needs that everyone was facing. One was around having the whole of the knowledge base searchable. So ICO came out of it. And another was that we were working with so many brands, we were building so many features. So how do we keep track of if something is coming to a deadline, something is getting missed out, or some issue is not having enough information? So we built an agent on top of Linear as a platform to just kind of remind everyone that, this thing is coming. If they are blocked somewhere, it could do a follow up with the other person. It could also help you suggest reprioritizing things or replanning things. Let's say if you have one person is having an extra workload, another person, it could scan the board and suggest you can share the workload with the other person. So that was the initial thing that we did. And when we think of AI automations in these ways, not like where the one is for internal purpose, one is for our in the product, our approach has significantly transformed. Previously, when we used to think of an automation, we were always concerned about what if it fails this way, what if it user doesn't understand what this input means. Like you would write an automation script, you would maybe build a small dashboard where user is punching in their inputs. So the whole complexity of even automating a single flow was very high. But with AI, I think have brought internally to just writing a document, which can work as a skill to Claude or ChatGPT or any kind of such, or even these open source models, yes, which can work as a guidance. And then because the models are so intelligent by themselves, you don't need to go ahead and handle these all the corner scenarios, all the error scenarios by yourself. So this is how AI has helped us accelerate automation. The challenges that we are facing there are definitely one of the things, the number of tokens that again is not, that's where we have to optimize, find the optimum solution, whether it's better to write a script that automates and just handle the corner scenarios by agent, or let the agent deal with the whole workflow by themselves. That one is token. Another is that like if you are building an agent that can be that can have different set of users, not just like your developer. That designer can be also their user, a developer can also be their user, a product person can also be their success. Every role thinks differently. So one of the thing that we are face, I think, difficulty is also kind of whether like to make the model adapt to the user's role and get it to be more accessible to that user. So I think these are the two major challenges. And third, I would say one thing is there that is more of a team level. So like as all of us who have worked extensively in our past automating things, building things in a non-AI way, you have to unlearn a lot to build things in a AI native way. You have to let go of the way you used to think earlier, how the automation work, how the user experience should work. And you have to think in like, from almost like a first principle from scratch, that if you have just the AI and these many tools available, how will you build that experience? So
Yeah.
building that thinking in everyone is also kind of a challenge. And I think we have made a good progress. And so, but that remains like if anybody wants to do it, it will remain a challenge.
So, like, Mank, if I can just summarize, the first thing was like token maxing in AI automation blocker, whereas like, the cost escalates. Then we have to think of like putting in scripts and other things. So automation, like, a script-based automation versus like handing it over to the agent. So that's the cost control and the workflow. The second was like everybody to have like accessibility to the model, like every user in the AI workflow. So the way the designer accesses the thing, or a developer or a support, these are all like a different persona who are accessing the model and using it. Any examples if you can share, like in terms of accessing a model, like, let's say a product person versus dev.
Yes. So I think a very recent example would be of we have a lot of blueprints. Like, if you want to build an app, you can choose from like tons of blueprints that we have for each and every category, and start from there. And we want to keep on, like, our target remains that we consistently want to keep on adding blueprints. I would say like 2 to 3 a week or even more. So how developer approaches and versus how product person, I mean, how our designers approach it is very different. Developer was more in terms of, like they were more focused on how to get the like content, or how to get the styles right, how to get the these like there was a fixed, what do you call, like a fixed layout and fixed everything which you have to achieve, and they were trying to tell agent, you have to do this, you have to do this, like, just give an image and kind of go there, versus a designer where things are like, be creative, where, make it look better, make it look different, make it more aligned with Nike, or make it more aligned with Zara. So these are the different things. So one, we tell agent to how to measure accuracy, how to get close to the reference that you are given. Like, if your product card has to look like this, how do you really reach there? What tools you have? But versus the designer, when you talking about that use case, that time we tell what tools you have to gather the context so that you can take more creative decisions. You can make more, like you can create more choices than it is possible. So I think these are the two two basic fundamental difference, and accommodate both of them becomes a challenge. Give which role the agent should have to on which occasion. So yes, that is one of the challenges.
So just man, food for thought. I'll come back to you. I'll discuss with Sharath more on this, like app generation and echo. But I'll come back to you and
Also in the chat. Sorry.
ask 3 things to unlearn while implementing AI automations. So just have 3 points, which we will. It's a good it's a good clip for let's say for developers or designers. So anyways, so over back to Sharath.
So adding to what Mayank said, like one thing which we are investing a lot on is how can we automate our testing processes? Because with let's say a designer or a developer, we are doing, let's say, 5x the number of commits, right? So that means we have to have a 5x capacity of testing things. Now that itself is, if everyone assumes like whatever you build, it will not there will be some issues, even if when we used to build, when we used to code ourselves now without agents, we used to make mistakes, and then the whatever it was found out by via test cases or manual testing. That problem has increased a lot. Like that's a much bigger problem right now, because the volume of code that's being written, that's much more. We need to, and we are investing a lot of time and effort into automating our testing process, especially around our apps, like how and basically an agentic way of testing apps, where an agent drives the apps. You basically describe, okay, check the add to cart flow, or check the edit profile flow. Are apply coupon flows? Give it a flow to test, and uh, we are building, and the agent will do the testing and generate a report out of it. Right now, it's the so this is also, I think everyone will have to invest in evaluating basically the output of the agents. That is a major area of, I think, everyone who is working. Everyone has to invest in it, and that's a very big challenge for everyone right now.
Great. So, coming back to Shell. So when we started, our first app took 4 months. Now we have been able to build apps, especially app generation. Like there was a lot of subjectivity, and like some people see functionality, some people see design, some people see user experience. Like cracking design have been the hardest, and especially
Correct.
first version of an app which is acceptable to users. And congrats to our efforts where you have kind of short circuited that 4 months into like 4 minutes, or or some hours.
Yes.
So would love to understand what was the approach? How did you go about it? And I remember like we have done multiple like miss shots in our like town halls. Like probably we started like shooting it at like probably started in Feb, but now I think it's like pretty impressive. We have been able to generate probably like 4 version of an app within like 10 minutes, and it's quite impressive. So how has been the journey? Like what is the like roadblocks, and like what is the learning that we can share with people who are trying to like marry AI and design and user
So
experience?
yes. So I'll just explain what was the hard part is like you like apps and webs are fundamentally like obviously there are going to be slight differences in layout and design. Yeah, they are similar but not same. Similar not same is a big gap. How much similar are they? Do you want the same kind of interactions in web and app? So there are brands who I always go by like 50% of brands who want to have the same experience across web and app. 50% say they don't want they want something new in the app. Now, itself becomes a challenge for our implementation team, like cater to two different workflows. Basically, the pathways changed a lot. So that is one. Then, obviously, people like typical problems that we wanted to solve was around font customization, fonts, icons, colors, basic button designs, input boxes, the basic atoms of the design system. Like everyone wants slight tweaks there, right? And that's like how are elements spaced and all those things. Now these 10 12 parameters, when they combine, they create a lot of variations. It's impossible to do it in a fast way. Not like if you want to do it slowly and like do it over a month or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, obviously it's possible, right? But when we want to scale as an org, like we want to scale it, we want to do it. So these are the problems that were there. Now, starting from February, I think we started actually much earlier. We showed the first version in February. The base idea was we'll have some blueprints, and on top of that, what we call customizations will occur. Why we started with blueprints? Because we always wanted to have an end-to-end functioning app. So any app that we should generate, I believe all the basics of e-commerce should be covered from the first version itself, because no one wants and people should then tweak on top of it. That's the first criteria we had. So that was why we had blueprints and not without like you just start from scratch and create each screen. As our agent was saying, like I have created 60 plus screens. So if you go and prompt 60 screens, it will take a lot of time to build it. So that's why we need some blueprints to get started. Now, once you choose a blueprint, you go ahead and tweak it, modify it as much as you want, and you can ultimately end up modifying all 60 of those screens to your wish. So that was the flow. When we started, the first version we wanted was like, okay, just with a blueprint can we build an app? No changes. So that was like the 0th, -1, whatever version you will call.
Sharat, so you were sharing your journey with like uh, automation of app design.
Right.
And I remember like we had a lot of hits and misses, and we kind of started the journey like 3 months back. And we're getting inspired with like all the best platforms out there in the team. And there were a lot of user experience problem statements, then how we have been trying to execute design to coding functionalities. So yeah, and we came with themes and everything. So carry on.
Yes. So as I was saying, like we started off with like a lot of, I was just stating all the problems that we were facing. Now, as we initially started with a very fixed mindset. Like what was that? Like we gave AI fixed instructions like this is what you want, you should be doing to create the app. So the problem statement that we went with was, given a website, create an app for that website. And you have, let's say, a set of blueprints to choose from. Now, initially we were like, okay, choosing the blueprint and giving to the AI that, okay, you choose, here's the blueprint and you have to use this blueprint and the website to build the app. So it had two problems. One, how does it understand our blueprint that we have created for the app? And the second was, how does it understand the website of the brand, right? Both turned out to be non-trivial problems, like explaining to an agent like what a blueprint is. A blueprint is basically a whole app design expressed as a JSON, right? And like it has 60 screens around. It's a massive JSON of like 400, 500 KB.
And
Kilobytes.
you see, like our podcast uses a lot of marketing teams and they are like, they are into design. So can you explain this? What is JSON to them?
JSON, let's say just all the, it's similar to, it's a way of just storing data in a structured way, where so that it can be passed from, it doesn't matter actually, the format doesn't matter. So we are just storing design. It can be a simple text file for all an agent cares. So it's a simple file in which we are storing all the design. Okay, the button color is, let's say, the button width is 200, the height is 40, something like that. So we are storing, and for each block in our app, we are storing this information. So it turns out to be a huge piece of information for the blueprint. Now, how do we explain this blueprint to the agent? And how do we explain what the brand's website looks like to the agent? So, and then it has to translate that website into an app experience. So now these three problems are there. We took multiple attempts at it. We went with a very fixed approach, like this is how you have to do it. Just give it step by step instructions. And it was able to do, but it was not like, it was able to reach like 50, 60% like that. Then, but over time, where we have ended up through is a more agentic approach, like where we have tried to minimize the instructions that we are giving to the model, and we are relying more on what kind of tools that we are creating, giving it to the agents, or tools and skills. So it has a browser tool right now, like where it can browse the website and see, or it has a catalog of all images that are being used on a website. We scrape it and keep it internally. That's so basically giving it a catalog of all the images beforehand, so it doesn't have to waste time looking for the images, what image to choose and everything, right? So doing things like these to make the life easy for the agent, but not giving it a fixed set of instructions, but instead giving it a goal, or even explaining it to blueprints in a brief way, like, hey, this is an editorial design, this is a more compact design. So giving text-based descriptions of each blueprints, and then using browser, it understands the website's design, then tries to match which blueprint will fit best, and then creates the first version of the app. Now in this, and then it updates the home screen, the collection screen, the PDP screen, the card screen, the account screen. So all the major screen in the first pass, it will update. Then we are leaving it to the user to go ahead and play around with it more and update the design of the app. So just by chatting, they can then go ahead and create and update other screen elements, or even the elements created in the first pass. So that's where we have ended up at.
So like, how would it evolve? Like, we moved from 4 months to, let's say, 4 minutes or 10 minutes to, let's say we move from 4 months to 4 minutes to get first version of the app.
Right.
So
So yes,
what would be the ideal journey like going forward? Like, we are in the midst of it. Like, so how do you imagine, like, how would it happen with a
right.
brand who is trying to improve their mobile experience with an app? Like, how would it evolve?
So the problem statement that we started with Appbrew with was, right, design and integrations were two of the key elements. Now, design, integrations, and customizations, like for customizations are custom features unique to each brand that each brand wants to build. So these are the three things that we are still solving for. The next step would be, like, let's say you say to the agent, even right now would be able to do it, like, add Judge Me in my app. Judge Me is the most popular review integration out there. So we have pre-built Judge Me modules, we have pre-built Okendo, Yotpo, all of these integrations that we have. Now the agent should be able to integrate them in the app, and the user should be able to preview those changes instantly. So that is where we are going next in this quarter. Integrations have to be solved for to build the complete end-to-end app experience, right? We have to have the review integration, we have to have the loyalty integration, we have to have the search integration that people generally have, other CRM, MMP integrations also. So these are the things that the agent needs to get better at. Right now, it will be try to, if you give it a problem statement, it will try to figure it out on its own, refer web search, maybe search through our existing set of libraries, but it will be very time taking. But converting it into basically a skill and set of tools so that it can update the code and then test it out somehow that, okay, whatever it has done is reflecting. So for integrations, that's where we want to go. Customizations basically similar to integrations only, like you have like any customer should be able to build features unique to themselves through the agent. So that is, and again, building it is just one part of it. Seeing the preview in real time of the feature built on an app and test the agent able to have an idea of, isn't able to test that feature out by itself. So that the loop closes, like it builds, tests, and then tells the user, okay, this is done. And it doesn't say like just randomly like I have done all the things. So ensuring that loop is closing of building and testing for the agent for custom features and integrations. That's the key technical problem to solve.
Great. So coming back to Mayank, what are the 3 things to unlearn while executing AI automation workflows?
It's a very interesting question, actually. I think the first thing would be don't do it yourself. Let the agent do the work. I mean, you do not underestimate the agent. You do not underestimate the model. I think there was a news. I mean, I don't remember who spoke it, but your models are enough, whichever are already there right now. It's just the harness that needs to be improved. The tools that we give, how we execute it, how we give the feedback to the model, those things need to be improved. Models, whatever are already there, they are far capable by themselves. So while like we have seen internally that people try to take the things in their hand by explicitly telling agent, do this way, do that way. But I think the best way is to let agent and the user decide what they want and do not restrict the area that the agent or the model can cover. So that is one part. Second part is that I think it is for designers, which we have seen is that a lot of like whatever we are doing on our product, whether like, building app, customizations and all of it, we have to let go of that idea that everything requires an UI. Like a designer UI where you are like giving taking input, showing feedback, all of that. There is a lot that can happen just by conversation. You know, even the most complex of the problems can be solved easily with the conversation, and conversation is your UI right now. So I think a lot of that, if we focus more on the capabilities that UI, like the conversation itself, then I think we would not need a lot of UI, and things will move much faster. And the third thing we'll need to like unlearn or learn kind of is that previously we used to think all the whatever we want the customers to do or whatever we want products to do as a flows, like as a you are at one step, you are then move to the second step, you move to the third step. That has now changed into I would say that a storytelling, how well you are able to make your agent, and that agent which can convey that story then to the user really well. So if I want to, let's say, build an app, I need to make my agent in such a way where it's not just like, take 3 steps, you take the inputs, you ask one by one those inputs, not that. But a very great storytelling where it understands the user's intentions, it understands what user, where the user problems can come. So just to work around to that. So it has come a lot to the language right now, not the earlier. I think there was a in between a transition, like where we found that UI was like we built a lot of UI because like our systems were not able to understand the language and take action. So we have to. I think we are back to language itself. How good you are at telling a story, writing instruction. Those things will really help rather than just building UI. Those will continue to be there, but they are not the major things. I would say.
Storytelling to build products.
Yes, I mean, product has always been in storytelling, but now it has become very, very specific, like language-based storytelling.
Great. So this is regarding, like, Sharath, can you take us through, like, so of us as a company, we have a lot of problem where is like, sales wanted to understand how an app is helping, let's say, a brand, use cases, support would need access to, what is happening with the brand, what was the promise to the brand in the sales, and like dev needed an access. So you kind like, you took an initiative and built something which is Echo. So tell us, like, and I think this is like, this is team AI assistant where, it helps team with knowledge sharing. So it's like a knowledge sharing assistant for all of us. So tell us, how did you build it? And if somebody wants to build it for themselves or a brand wants to build it for themselves, how would they go about it? And how did we go about it? What have been the learnings?
So Echo, as you said, like so Echo is an internal. First of all, we have data sync from Gmail, Linear, Notion. There was our meeting data from whatever we are using, Fathom, and a couple of more sources. So data from all these sources is there. Knowledge assistant where anyone can ask a query. Like, so one of the most common query as we built so many integrations was which app has this integration. Let's say which apps are using Judge Me, Loops, Yotpo. Common query was that. One way is to manually maintain it. But over time, as we build like 120 plus integrations, it becomes very difficult to, like, even a small miss is like, you can't basically ensure Kate has not been missed, right? But what we had as a source of truth was we knew two things. Like, if the task has been done, a linear would be there. Like if we had created an integration, a linear ticket would be there. If it has been done via automation or whatever, then it must be in code. So we were able to basically we needed to search over different kinds of data. So that was what we built. Like you can basically search over all of this data, and that is provided as a tool to, let's say, a language model like Gemini uh, 3.5 Flash. And once that agent searches for those data, and based on that and other tools, it provides answer to queries. How it has helped us is new teammate onboarding. Whenever a new joinee has been onboarded into the team, it helps them get their queries answered faster. It also removes dependency, like it on people, like X depending is not getting unblocked on Y for information. Like you are able to get whatever information you need and unblock yourself basically. So that has been the major advantages of it. The learning again was pretty similar. It started out as an experiment. Like I also wanted to learn how to build agents. Like that was the first motivation. Like along with the solving for the team and all, it was also one of the motivations was, okay, let's also build an agent internally and see what are the challenges we face. So we have been using it for 6 months now. I think some 7 months from Jan onwards, and pretty simple. Like we have collected data from all the sources that I provided into a simple a database, Postgres database. One database, one server. That's it. It's there. Nothing fancy, and it just works.
How do you take care of hallucinations? So there has been instances that, we try
Yes.
to query something and it invents a truth.
So it's mostly around making the search better. So what to do when the information is not there? That is a challenge. I don't think it's completely solved, but I think the hallucinations have decreased quite a lot. I wouldn't take like models itself themselves have gotten better, reducing hallucinations, but by providing them with again tools to test out their information, right? So let's say along with it is able to, let's say it is able to search on it, it is also able to verify the existence of that ticket. So one thing we have is like whatever it answers, it always cites a source. So whatever linear ticket or Notion document it is reading or a meeting recording it, a meeting transcript it is referencing, it has to cite a source. So that has helped with decreasing the hallucinations. But since it's an internal tool, people are, I think, pretty much aware of what they're asking for. So also not I wouldn't say like it's a major problem right now.
In AI, we have like two kinds of founders and the CEOs. So the one school of thought says, that AI will take 60% of the jobs. And then, lot of like even software engineering will become redundant. And then there is another school of thought which says it will make people so productive that people will produce more and factories will be able to add more workers, and it will lead to, more engineers like coming in, more products are being built. So Sharat, which side are you on?
Products will be built for sure. More money will be made from it. I don't know. Like even right now, I think more nature of jobs will change, right? People will find something to do. People will find ways to make money. So I think software engineering itself is changing. And the role obviously has changed a lot. Yeah. But more jobs will be created for sure.
So man,
Yes, I think the work that we are doing and how we are doing is definitely going to change. Skill set that was relevant earlier is obviously like even now itself is becoming kind of irrelevant. Even in software engineering or even any kind of data engineering or similar skills, the early level jobs are not really, I mean, AI has kind of replaced that work completely. But of course, the expertise, like the top level jobs, still AI is yet to catch up. I mean, I would say is quite far to replace those jobs. And on the long-term aspect of it, I think we are always like, as Shah said, that people find a way. So, people will find a way. Things and like, our offices, our factories, our, homes will look different. We will have different goals than what we have now. We'll have a different, I think even like when I look at the smartphone era, things have changed so much. Yes, I mean, things will look different, but I think I'm very optimistic about people will find a way to, matlab, jobs will be replaced, not gone.
so you have said, like we just like the world has entered from smartphone era to like a AI era. And how would like apps as a channel will evolve, and how would it like where would it transform into?
So I think that's like a while back, for example, I was saying that users' intentions have not changed. It's just how the users interact with something they have changed. So previously, if they need to search for a product or buy something, they would have to click. They will have to scroll, search, do all those things manually because that was the thing. Uh, that was the best possible solution that existed earlier. But now there are new ways of interactions possible. Interaction which we wouldn't even like notice it physically. Like, your agent is doing the work in the background somewhere. Like, you keep a camera in your fridge and they are monitoring your groceries and just ordering. And, probably you're just confirming the heart seems fine. So how does app evolve over that is that app is again, like I think I relate to is people still go to shop in a physical shop because inside that the experience that brand offers is their own. Somebody who is, let's say, Lego, they will have an area just to play around versus, a jewelry or a clothing brand, they will have their own way to showcase. So what happens inside app will still be in the brand's control completely. How they want to tell their story, whether it is by having, the voice interactions or auto kind of, suggesting things, or maybe just like acting as an advisor or a, helper to customer and then just solving their problems and in the meanwhile using the products that they are building to help solve that customer's problem. So app is I would say is an open channel for brand where everything is in their control and they have the freedom to be as creative as possible. And we know the interactions will change. Interaction will not be those touches and clicks anymore. So that's how I see it. Like I see it a very open way where brands have the perfect freedom to build any kind of experience and directly connect with the customers, which they have always wanted to do.
Got it.
Should change. I think it has a long time. We are doing the same scrolling, same way. Wait, problem is like e-commerce is so, even as at today, right now, it's so optimized. Everyone, any change will first decrease the efficiency, conversion rates, etc. Like because it will any change that we make, people will find it a bit unusual. The users, the buyers will find it a bit unusual, and then it will change. So I think obviously voice seems very promising, but it has seemed promising for a long time. So, but I don't know. Like I really want like at least more voice-led experiences. But let's see. That is where it goes.
Cool. So now we are into like the last section of the podcast. And since, our tech is at the interaction of consumers, mobile, design, integration, this section is like basically will cover like design and AI. So like, how do we like approach design now with AI?
From a process perspective, I feel it needs to change. Seeing the speed of design creation in Figma, that seems pretty slow because right now. So from a process perspective, like a designer is able to get to 70-80% of what they want to do in Claude code much faster. Now the problem is getting them to 100% and then getting that into development. So that process changed, how the tools will change, and maybe Figma itself evolves, brings features, something like that. But that process has to change from a design perspective, because right now design creation is pretty, like, it feels very, creating manually designs in Figma, it feels very antiquated, like it feels old.
Well,
Yeah, as to what Sharat said, like, uh, I mean, the tools, Figma and all, while they have been great to the interfaces that we required in the past, but as we say, like, design is the best when people don't notice it. So like when you're solving a certain problem and it just makes it so easy for you to, solve that problem for customer. So like voice is there, and I mean the different way of designing the experience will come. And now also like Figma is like worked as a prototyping kind of a tool, but the gap between prototyping and going live is kind of reducing. So I think like in terms of execution, design will come more closer to trying out things, going live immediately, rather than having like just 2D like I say, like a 2D kind of designs, because those are not enough anymore. You need much more than just the Figma design to build a great experience.
like, what are the models, like favorite models for design? Like, shut up.
I think Opus is overall good at all around good at everything. So Opus is, I have used Opus. I haven't tried GPT's leading models for design, so can't comment there. But Opus is obviously good. It's quite good at creating SVG diagrams and everything also that way. From a tool perspective, really liked Google's Stitch for they use Gemini models, but they obviously have done something, a lot of work on top of it to create images or UIs. It is able to create quite well. So Stitch, I will say, is overall the best experience of creating pages and all.
Okay, now this is a like a little controversial questions, and so this is the second last question, and then there would be a last question. So we are at the end of like the uh, podcast. One, design as a problem solving versus engineering. Like, how do you approach that?
Design is problem solving, right?
Design as a problem solving versus engineering.
It's design and engineering. I don't know. I am not able to understand. Like,
So let's say like Mayank said something in the beginning that earlier we used to start with UI. So UI would be a constraint for an engineering.
right.
Now, like with AI, it's conversations, like how you chat, how you talk. So like, how do you see in the age of AI, of course, nobody now likes Figma. And we are okay with like Claude doing like 70% of the work, or let's say other foundational model doing 70% of the work. So what's that 30% gap which we are talking about? That's constraints like teams. And what would be the like high level solution?
I think the polish, the finish that we are able to get, I think that's true with not just for design, it's for even for engineering work and everything. 70-80% is quite easy to get with any model. Getting from 80 to 100 with in a way that reflects what you want to achieve. That's the hard part for both design and engineering. How it will be done, it's ideally the first version. Let's say if I'm imagining you are creating using prompts and then you are able to manually edit it, like you are able to edit code or a document or a report that you have created. That experience is missing right now. Like I create 70% of the design using agent, then manually edit to get to the 100%. So that part is pretty much sorted for the code because it's just text, so you can just go type whatever, maybe change it and all. Maybe Figma itself will solve for it.
Right.
So I think the difference between design and engineering for me is that like the models are trained on all of the universal data, whether websites or apps or code or novels or newspaper articles, everything that is out there. And they have reached that, like we say that, the average of all of it. So when you prompt it, they would give you the average result. So the design that you make, of course, making a website is easy. But if you think from, say, earlier I was not able to design a website. For me, it's easier to reach that average because I was at a 10% earlier. But the expectations also because every model is able to create that will also push the expectations high. Your website, if like even I right now, when I see a lot of websites, okay, this is made by Claude, and I kind of lose the respect for it.
How do you identify that?
When that creativity, that expectation is still there. If you go to a restaurant, you eat something which is like it has a value which is reproducible at a larger scale, but you go to a restaurant that is very personal, that has a different value. So I think for design, I guess the expectation will become higher and people will learn to how to use these tools to reach that stage. And I'm saying that stage is not just you prompt it, make me a website or maybe design me a page just by uh, giving a very basic prompt. Your creativity skills will be needed. And I think up to a certain extent, that is applicable in software engineering also. The code that is out there is basic, the average. If you are solving a problem that is very unique to you, and you need to push it. You can't, Claude can't do that for you. So that is that challenge will remain there. People will have to push their thinking. They have been like enabled with an extremely powerful tool, but I think the outcome will still depend on how they use it. So yes, I mean, for me, I would say design is I think it's even more important for everyone to distinguish themselves, why they are different, why they are better.
Very close to when will AI will be able to generate UGC level of creatives and the videos.
Yes. And at that time, I think maybe for by when Instagram came, the expectations shifted higher on what kind of photographs you were posting. The basic, because Instagram was able to make the basic photograph look good. So now that was not the expectation anymore. Like you look at it, okay, this is fine. Everybody's doing it. So I think in that kind of content also our expectation will go high that, okay, we need a different. That happens in news. So many news channels out there. We expect different kind of news now. So I think everywhere that change will be there. Like people will certain problems will be solved, but of course people will always be in need of something that is more creative, more human.
Cool. So I think we are at the end of the podcast. Last question for Sharat and Mayank. One line answer.
I think it would be some because we have a lot discussed about AI only. What would it mean to be a brand in the AI era? So how would you exactly define it? What will be the story that will resonate with the customers? I think at the fundamental aspect of it, I would say that would be a great topic.
Okay. So is it from a tech perspective or is it from a story perspective? What was the angle that we should discuss?
I think more from the story perspective. Like when Instagram and TikTok, you look at the influencer-led brands. So your concept of brands have obviously evolved over time. So what will it become in the AI era? I think it's a very interesting topic to discuss.
Wow. So basically, like influencers were the largest brand creators globally with Kylie Jenner. So how would new brands would be created? Like brands would be created in a great. What should be the topic we should be exploring on Brewed? बोल दो भाई, खत्म भी करना है.
So I think we can discuss with them like what is that one job that we should not as a topic, but at least with that one question, like what is that one job that they don't want to do while running their business? We should ask all of them, and that they want AI to do instead of them.
So basically, okay. So basically, you want to say that we need to do podcast wherein like we ask our guests that what are the things they would like AI to do for them.
Look, for each of the guests, that can be a constant question, not a whole topic.
Cool. Thank you. I think it was a great podcast. I think we had a very good material. See you soon.
We need to reverse this format. We need to ask you questions.